In terms of AGI, again, I said, if we showed what we have today to a scientist from 20 years ago, they would be convinced we have full-blown AGI. We have systems which can learn, they can perform in hundreds of domains, and be better than human in many of them. So you can argue we have a weak version of AGI. No, we don't have superintelligence yet. We still have brilliant humans who are completely dominating AI, especially in science and engineering. But that gap is closing so fast. You can see, especially in the domain of mathematics. 3 years ago, large language models couldn't do basic algebra. Multiplying 3-digit numbers was a challenge. Now they help into They're winning mathematics Olympics competitions. They are working on solving millennial problems, the hardest problems in mathematics. So in 3 years, we closed the gap from subhuman performance to better than most mathematicians in the world. And we see the same process happening in science and
they correspond to different dates. I have those dates in front of me here. What is your prediction for the year 2027?
We're probably looking at AGI as predicted by prediction markets and tops of the lab.
So we have artificial general intelligence by 2027. How is that making the world different to how it is now?
So if you have this concept of a drop-in employee, you have free labor, physical and cognitive, trillions of dollars of it. It makes no sense to hire humans for most jobs. If I can just get, a $20 subscription or free model to do what an employee does, first, anything on a computer will be automated. And I think humanoid robots may be 5 years behind, so in 5 years all the physical labor can also be automated. So we're looking at a world where we have levels of unemployment we never seen before. I'm not talking about 10% unemployment, which is scary, but 99%. All you have left is jobs where, for whatever reason, you prefer another human would do the thing. But anything else will be fully automated. It doesn't mean it will be automated in practice. A lot of times, technology exists, but it's not deployed. Video phones were invented in the 70s. Nobody had them until iPhones came around. So we may have a lot more time with jobs and with world which looks like this. But capability to replace most humans in most applications will come very quickly.
Okay, so let's try and drill down into that stress testing. So, a podcaster like me, would you need a podcaster like me?
So let's look at what you do. You prepare, you ask questions, you ask follow-up questions, and then you review them chemically. Let's see what we can do. Large language model today can easily read everything I wrote and have very solid understanding. Better, I assume you haven't read every single one of my books. That thing would do it. It can train on every podcast you ever did, so it knows exactly your style, the types of questions you ask. It can also find correspondence between what works really well, like this type of question really increased views, this type of topic was very promising, so it can optimize, I think, better than you can do. Of course, visual simulations to do this.
So you can make a video within seconds of me sat here and...
So we can generate videos of you interviewing anyone on any topic very efficiently, and you just have to get likeness approval.
Are there many jobs that you think would remain in a world of AGI? You're saying AGI is potentially going to be here, whether it's deployed or not, by 2027. What kind... And then, okay, so let's take out of this any physical labor. Are there any jobs that you think a human would be able to do better in the world of AGI? Still.
So that's the question we often ask people. In the world with AGI, and I think almost immediately they get superintelligence. So the question really is, in a world of superintelligence, which is defined as better than all humans in all domains, what can you compete with? And so you know better than anyone what it's like to be you. You know what ice cream tastes to you. Can you get paid for that knowledge? Is someone interested in that? Maybe not a big market. There are jobs where you want a human. You want to be rich and you want a human accountant, for whatever historic reasons. Old people like traditional ways of doing things. Warren Buffett would not switch to AI, he would use his human accountant. But it's a tiny subset of a market. Today we have products which are man-made in US as opposed to mass-produced in China, and some people pay more to have those. But it's a small subset. It's almost a fetish. There is no practical reason for it. And I think anything you can do on a computer could be automated using that technology.
You must hear a lot of rebuttals to this when you say it, because people experience a huge amount of mental discomfort when they hear that their job, their career, the thing they got a degree in, the thing they invested $100,000 into is going to be taken away from them. So their natural reaction, for some people, is that cognitive dissonance that, no, you're wrong, AI can't be creative, it's not this, it's not that, it'll never be interested in my job, I'll be fine because. You hear these arguments all the time, right?
It's really funny. I ask people, and I ask people in different occupations. I'll ask my Uber driver, are you worried about self-driving cars? And they go, no. No one can do what I do. I know the streets of New York. I can navigate like no AI. I'm safe. And it's true for any job. Professors are saying this to me. Oh, nobody can lecture like I do. Like, this is so special. But you understand it's ridiculous. We already have self-driving cars replacing drivers. That is not even a question if it's possible. It's like, how soon before you fire?
Yeah, I mean, I've just been in LA yesterday, and my car drives itself. So I get in the car, I put in where I want to go, and then I don't touch the steering wheel or the brake pedals, and it takes me from A to B, even if it's an hour-long drive without any intervention at all. I actually still park it, but other than that, I'm not driving the car at all. I mean, obviously in LA we also have Waymo now, which means you order it on your phone and it shows up with no driver in it and takes you to where you want to go.
Oh, yeah.
So it's quite clear to see how that is potentially a matter of time. For those people, because we do have some of those people listening to this conversation right now, that their occupation is driving, to offer them, and I think driving is the biggest occupation in the world, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure it is the biggest occupation in the world. What would you say to those people? What should they be doing with their lives? Should they be retraining in something, or what time frame?
So that's the paradigm shift. Before we always said this job is going to be automated, we train to do this other job. But if I'm telling you that all jobs will be automated, then there is no plan B. You cannot retrain. Look at computer science. 2 years ago, we told people, you are an artist, you cannot make money, learn to code. Then we realized, oh, AI kind of knows how to code and getting better. Become a prompt engineer. With an engineer, the guy will do a great job. Get a 4 year. And we're like, AI is way better at designing prompts for AI than anything. So that's gone. So how do you, right now the hardest thing is design AI agents for practical applications. I guarantee you in a year or two it's going to be gone.
That's better.
So I don't think there is a this occupation needs to learn to do this stuff. I think it's more like we as a humanity and we lose our jobs. What do we do financially? Who's paying for us? And what do we do in terms of meaning? What do I do with my extra 60, 80 hours a week?
You've been talking around this point.
A little bit.
What is around that?
So the economic part seems easy. If you create a lot of free labor, if you have a lot of free wealth, abundance, things which are right now not very affordable become dirt cheap, and so you can provide for everyone basic needs. Some people say you can provide beyond basic needs, you can provide very good existence for everyone. The hard problem is, what do you do with all that free time? For a lot of people, their jobs are what gives them meaning in their lives, so they would be kind of lost. We see the people who retire or be early retire. And for so many people who hate their job, they'll be very happy not working. But now you have people who are chilling over it. What happens to society? How does that impact families, pregnancy, all sorts of issues? Nobody thinks about it. Governments don't have programs prepared to deal with 99% unemployment.
What do you think that world looks like?
I'm opening a portal.
Again, I think
you gonna be
a
doing?
very important part to understand here is the unpredictability. We cannot predict what a smarter than us system will do. And the point when we get to that is what we call singularity, by analogy with physical singularity. You cannot see beyond the event horizon. I can tell you what I think might happen, but that's my prediction. It is not what actually is going to happen, because I just don't have cognitive ability to predict a much smarter agent impacting this world. When you read science fiction, there is never super intelligence in it actually doing anything, because nobody can write believable science fiction at that level. They either ban AI, like Dune, because this way you can avoid writing about it, or it's like Star Wars. You have this really dumb bots, but nothing super intelligent, ever. Because by definition, you cannot predict at that level.
Because by definition of it being super intelligent, it will make its own mind up.
By definition, if it was something you could predict, you would be operating at the same level of intelligence. If I'm playing chess with super intelligence and I can predict every move, I'm playing at this level.
Exactly what I'm thinking and what I'm going to do.
That's a good cognitive gap. And it's not just even predicting going to work or coming back, but you cannot understand why you're doing that. That is something completely outside of his model of buy food for him.
What's the most persuasive argument against your own perspective here?
That we will not have unemployment due to advanced technology?
The mystic arts
That there
won't
won't
fail
be
me
this
again.
French bulldog human gap in understanding and, I guess, like power and control.
So some people think that we can enhance human minds either through combination with hardware, so something like Neuralink, or through genetically engineering, where we make smarter humans. People may give us a little more intelligence. I don't think we're still competitive in biological form and silicon form. Silicon substrate is much more capable of intelligence. It's faster, it's more resilient, more efficient in many ways.
Which is what computers are doing.
So I don't think we can keep up with improving our biology. Some people think maybe, and this is very speculative, we can upload our minds into computers. So scan your brain and phone of your brain and have a simulation running on your computer. You can speed it up, you get more capabilities. But to me, it feels like you no longer exist. We just created software by different means, and now you have AI based on biology and AI based on some other forms of training. Evolutionary algorithms, you can have many paths to reach AGI, but at the end, none of them are human.
I have another date here, which is 2030. What's your prediction for 2030? What will the world look like?
So we probably will have humanoid robots with enough flexibility, dexterity to compete with humans in all domains, including plumbers. We can make artificial plumbers.
Not the plumbers, where that felt like the last bastion of human employment. So 2030, 5 years from now, humanoid robots. So many of the companies, the leading companies, including Tesla, are developing humanoid robots at light speed, and they're getting increasingly more effective. And these humanoid robots will go into the business space, or, make an omelette, do anything humans can do, but obviously be connected to AI as well, so they can think, talk.
Right, they're controlled by AI, they're always connected to the network, so they're already dominating the
Our world will look like when humanoid robots are functional and effective, because that's really when the combination of intelligence and physical ability really doesn't need much, does it, for us human beings?
Not much. So today, if you have intelligence through internet, you can hire humans to do your bidding for you. You can pay them in Bitcoin, so you can have bodies just not directly controlling them. So it's not a huge direct control of physical bodies. Intelligence is where it's at. The important component is definitely higher ability to optimize, to solve problems, to find patterns, people can assess.
And then by 2045, I guess the world looks even more, which is 20 years from now.
So if it's still around,
if it's still around.
Ray Kurzweil predicts that that's the year for the singularity. That's the year where progress becomes so fast.
What are you aiming at?
AI doing science and engineering makes improvements so quickly we cannot keep up in it. That's the definition of singularity, point beyond which we cannot see, understand, predict.
See and understand intelligence.
What is happening in the world? The technology is being developed. So right now, if I have an iPhone, I can look forward to a new one coming out next year, and I'll understand it has slightly better cameras. Imagine now this process of researching and developing this phone is outdated. It happens every 6 months, every 3 months, every month, every day, hour, minute, second. You cannot keep up with 30 iterations of iPhone in a year. You don't understand what capabilities it has, what proper controls are. It just escapes. Right now it's hard for any researcher on AI to keep up with the state of the art. While I was doing this interview with you, a new model came out, and I no longer know what the state of the art is. Every day as a percentage of total knowledge I get down. And we still know more because I keep reading, but as a percentage of overall knowledge, we're all getting down. And when you take it to extreme values, we have zero knowledge, zero understanding of the world around us.
Some of the arguments against this eventuality are that when you look at other technologies like the Industrial Revolution, people just found new ways to work, and new careers that we could never have imagined at the time were created. How do you respond to that world of superintelligence?
It's a paradigm shift. We always have tools, new tools, which allow some job to be done more efficiently. So instead of having 10 workers, you have 2 workers, and 8 workers have to find a new job. And there was another job, now you can supervise those workers, do something for them. If you're creating meta invention, you're inventing intelligence, you're inventing a worker, an agent, then you can apply that agent to the new job. There is not a job which cannot be automated. That never happened before. All the inventions we previously had were kind of a tool to but that's it, it's actually fire. You invent the wheel, same idea, huge implications, but the wheel itself is not an invention. Here we're inventing a replacement for human mind, a new inventor capable of doing new inventions. It's the last invention we ever have to make. At that point, it takes over, and the process of doing science, research, even ethics research, morals. All that is automated at that point.
Do you sleep well at night?
Really well.
Even though you spent the last, 15, 20 years of your life working on AI safety, and it's suddenly among us in a way that I don't think anyone could have predicted 5 years ago. When I say among us, I really mean that the amount of funding and talent that is now focused on reaching superintelligence faster has made it feel more inevitable and more soon than any of us could have possibly imagined.
We as humans have this built-in bias about not thinking about really bad outcomes, things we cannot prevent. So all of us are dying. Your kids are dying, your parents are dying, everyone's dying, but you still sleep well, you still go on with your day. Even 95-year-olds are still doing games and playing golf and whatnot, because we have this ability to not think about the worst outcomes, especially if we cannot actually modify the outcome. So that's the same infrastructure being used for this. Yeah, there is humanity-level death-like event. We're happening to be close.
Pick your hero. Or villain. I'm not judging.
You've pointed out that women actually punish the men that they're most attracted to.
Sure.
Does attraction create that dynamic? And if so, why?
Well, you have to understand that punishment is a risky, labor-intensive thing. Like, people don't argue with people they don't care about, and they can gain nothing from. It's just a complete wasted effort. And punishment is effortful. It requires emotional resources, time, and it is a bit of a gambit. And the purpose of most punishment is
this time, Ultron,
to
your
stop a
nanobots will
certain
not
behavior
enslave me. They will
and
set
or to
us
bring
all
someone back
free.
in line. You're not going to want to punish somebody
30
that you
seconds
want
before you
to
attack.
leave your life.
Get ready.
That keeps them potentially in your life. Does that... You're giving me a face here. Does that
No,
make
no.
sense?
So if a man is getting tested,
Well, tested and punishments aren't necessarily the same thing.
okay, maybe he considers it
He
like
might
he's getting
think it's a
tested.
punishment.
Maybe he's, when a woman comes back at him with whatever she's coming back with, and he may think, oh, she's just being argumentative, but is that potentially a green flag? That's because she's interested. She's interested in keeping this going. She just wants one thing to change, or whatever
It
that may be.
definitely means that she's interested. It might not be a green flag. I don't think it's a good sign. I mean, to be honest, I was inspired to make that episode around the events of Tom Brady's divorce. And we know that after winning 6 Super Bowls, he said he wanted to retire, but that didn't last very long. And he says, no, I'm going to go back out on the field with the Bucks. And his wife was like, no, you can't do that. Putting pressure on him, suggesting that maybe they're going to separate if he doesn't leave football and stay home with her kids. That was my understanding. He says, I gotta do. I'm the GOAT of all, that's the T, right? I'm the greatest of all time. You knew I was into football when you met me. This is who I am, this is what I want to do. And of course, he went on to win the 7 Bucks.
We are in this together.
And then, of course,
She's with the jiu-jitsu trainer.
a lot of people don't know that Giselle actually has a higher net worth. And she got it from cosmetic. So she does pretty well for herself. And that's probably part of the reason why their divorce apparently was so... It wasn't contentious or long drawn out. They're both famous personalities in the public life. That doesn't always protect them. But her net worth was higher than his, as I understand it. But do you think that she would have put pressure on Tom to return home if she wasn't trusting him? If she didn't want him around? No, she would have said, that's okay, sweetie. Good luck, bye-bye. I love it. So I could potentially see that kind of pressure as punishment. It makes my life more difficult. And it's designed to coerce behavior in line with her preferences, which is basically what a punishment is. If it's successful, but it makes you stop doing the thing I want you to stop doing. That's how I know that it's a successful punishment. And I'm only going to do that because I want you around. When women don't want anything from a man, they're not going to punish him. They're not even going to insult him. All of those things are more likely to keep him around, potentially to make the situation more dangerous or unsafe for them.
I think it's so passionate about his biggest deal of this.
I'm ready to put on a
Make sure
show.
that with the next one, make sure to pay the most.
Well, it kind of comes back to the idea that all men pay when it comes to women. But the more she likes you, the greater the discount. So men can pay in all kinds of different ways. Just think about the average date, is that I have to pay because I have to take the risk to ask you out. And for you to say yes, I have to have done all of this work myself. As I said before, it's taken me 10 years to learn how to pick up a phone in 10 minutes because I had to learn how to be confident. I had to learn how to be... I had to learn to do things. I had to present myself in a certain way. From her perspective, it's 60 minutes, so that's the result of years and years of effort and experience. Then there's the date, there's the time, there's the emotional engagement, there's money, there's the opportunity cost. There's a lot that goes into dating and maintaining. I think in general, it's more expensive for men to be in a relationship and more expensive for women to be. So take that as. However, the more a woman actually authentically desires you and likes you, the less you have to do any of that other stuff. However, if she doesn't like you, then on some level she has to be compensated for her presence and the opportunity cost of spending time with you over any other man that she might even be more authentic when spending time with. And so that's when you have to, well, you gotta send an Uber for me this way, and pick me up, and we're gonna have to go to this restaurant, not that restaurant, and don't expect any, funny business. So that man is now paying for multiple expensive dates, is patient, is spending a lot of money, spending a lot of time, and maybe hasn't even succeeded in entering into a sexual relationship with that woman. Because that woman actually doesn't want sex with that man. She might allow him to access her sexual opportunity. She might have to eventually, because she can only kind of string him along for so long. But because she doesn't want that, but he has other things that she might want, she's going to use the sexual opportunity as bait in order to get the dinners and the validation and the gifts and the travel. And that might be enough, especially if she doesn't actually have to go to bed with him at the end of the day.
What about the other way around? What about the woman has the money and the man is maybe a younger man? He's the sexual opportunity for her.
That can happen for sure. I mean, we saw that with Giselle just a few minutes ago, right? I doubt that jiu-jitsu instructor was making more than her. You know what I'm saying? So there is this opportunity, and there's a number of examples of very famous female pop stars or actresses who do end up dating or even marrying younger men. They tend to be very attractive younger men. They're like the Cabana Boys, you know what I'm saying? They kind of have a boyish energy about them. They could be vigorous sexual partners. I've actually talked about this in both the book and on the channel, is that sometimes the younger man, older woman dynamic is really good for a number of reasons. First and foremost, is the libido, they tend to be matched. Like, young men can go all night, multiple rounds. It seems that women tend to peak sexually in their late 30s. I think some of that has to do with they finally become comfortable enough with their own bodies and their own sexualities. Like, female sexuality is a complicated thing. There's all these contradictory beliefs and ideas that women have to contend with from the time that they're very young. So it's not an easy thing to do. But by the time they get to that stage, they often are comfortable with their bodies. They know what feels good. They know how to please a man. They could be very experienced in the bedroom. And the men, that's what he sees. You could go all night. And so it's like, it could be fireworks. Younger men and older women.
You said one of the most costly mistakes men make is emotional investment. Once you give her the lollipop, you can't take it away without creating a problem. Walk me through what men are doing wrong here.
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about with the crisis of disillusionment, is that you don't actually know who you're dealing with until that shattering occurs. You're dealing with your own projected fantasies. And some men can really get off to the races, especially if they don't have a lot of experience with women, which could be because they're young, or not as attractive, for various other reasons. And if the woman is very attractive and they start sleeping together, he can very quickly get his emotions engaged. Let's say that this person is very quickly getting out of himself. All we're going to know is that he's very attracted to her physically, and that he likes what he sees. He might not be seeing clearly. In fact, we can almost guarantee that he's not seeing clearly. And so we do kind of want to play a waiting game until that disillusionment occurs, so that you know if this person is worth investing in for the long haul. I think women can do the same. So to me, that's at least 6 months and probably closer to 2 months
before kind of give her that emotional connection, because you're waiting to see if she really is, maybe. Or you're trying to.
I don't know if you've had this experience, but like you told me that you got married fairly young. I hope that's not a secret. So I don't know, have you ever had your heart broken?
Yeah.
You have? Yeah. There was a little bit. It sucks, doesn't it? Yeah. Do you want to go through that shit again? No, I don't think anybody does.
Well, I know, but some would say Yeah, but if you're, you know, keeping your heart closed off and you're kind of, and you're only going, and you're just maybe, you're not diving in, you're not giving yourself the chance to feel love with that person. Why postpone that when if I'm feeling it, you're saying, no, really, this is just, guys are just driven by the looks, the sex, and that's just, that's going to take over, and you're going to think you're in love, but you don't really know them yet, so give it time before you really give them your heart.
Yeah, I would say that, and I've heard that argument before, but it's respectfully kind of a straw man argument.
30 seconds
when
before
I
you
say
attack. Get
that
ready.
folks should exercise emotional restraint and to know who they're really dealing with before they invest in people emotionally, I'm not saying, well, just close off your heart and not feel any kind of emotions or love for people. That's the total opposite
I've never
extreme,
been one to hide. Will bring peace to this
actually
universe,
might
no
be
matter the
more
cost.
successful in the sexual marketplace than the opposite extreme, which is falling in love with every pretty thing that crosses
The
your
battle
path.
starts
We were
in
talking about
5,
bad boys. This is kind
4,
of kitty corner
3,
to
2,
bad boy,
1.
but there's like the stone cold
All you
thug
need to
is
do
one
is
of
capture the mission
the
area.
sub
Got
archetypes
it?
of the bad boy archetype, and that
Keep
works.
rolling.
Like being inscrutable and unemotional can work on women because they get a little uncertain. They don't know what's going on inside of them, and that mystery and that inscrutability is emotionally engaging. I don't make the news, I just report it. You know, whether it should or shouldn't be the case, that's how it is. And we know that's the case because that's when doing subclass with men. It didn't work on enough women, we wouldn't see that work.
I have a friend, he's married now, but when he was dating, he treated dating apps like pure fun, right? I'm gonna write this many women, I'm gonna track my reply rates, I'm gonna A/B test messaging. It's like a sales funnel. It's like a pipeline.
Good.
Is that the optimal strategy in today's environment?
For men.
For men.
Yes. We know from the behavior, I mean, a lot of women don't even swipe on dating apps. They just go into the Who Liked You page and choose. It's like putting fish in a barrel, right?
Better already.
And we know from the statistics that like a man has to swipe 500 times in order to get 10 matches, to get 3 responses, to get 1 date. And maybe she showed up. So with men on dating apps, it is absolutely a numbers game, and you have to take massive action. The man is just using those technologies casually. He's swiping 10, 20 times a day. That means it's going to take 50 days to get to 500. That's 2.5 months, right? Is he still, did he keep it up? Is he already hopeless? I mean, he's been thinking about this and trying for a month and a half. Is he even there yet? So if you're going to use the technology, you got to use it correctly. And for men, it's massive action. Nothing works without massive action on dating apps. The colorways for new women besides dating apps, this is how men happen.
By the eye of Agamotto!
The vast majority of matches when spawn, the vast majority of responses.
Behold the god of
Surveys, the number one reason that women say that they're on dating apps is they're bored. They use it as emotional validation and stimulation. About half the women on a dating app at any one time have no actual intention of ever meeting a man from that app again. It's a fun thing she can do in the bathroom. She can flip through some pretty faces. She can see, oh, this guy's kind of cute. That's kind of nice that he thought that I was cute. And then she can kind of go about her day and entertain her optionality. This is why men can get upset about these sorts of realities, these sorts of asymmetries, but of course getting upset isn't going to change anything, and it's certainly not going to make him more effective in the marketplace. So it's a better idea to kind of understand what you're working with and adapt your behavior in an iterative process until you get what you want. Like, to me, that's rational. It makes sense to me. And the game is always changing. Like, we didn't have dating apps really 10 years ago. Who knows what we're going to have in 10 years.
Yeah. For the man out there listening that maybe doesn't want to go the dating app route, maybe he wants to go in person, right? And his goal, like most single men's goal, is to hook up. He wants to hook up this week, right?
Okay.
And what are the top kind of 3 things he should think about if he wants to hook up this week?
Okay, well, first of all, let's talk about hooking up, because a lot of these men, when they listen to that, they're saying,
Keep
that's
going.
disgusting and terrible. They're going to have a lot of judgment about a man who has as his explicit intention to have short-term sex. My knowledge of that is that everything starts with that. In today's day and age, sex is for better or for worse, that's the room that we're all located in. The way it works in today's day and age is people go out on dates, they initiate a sexual relationship, and neither one of them knows if they're ever going to see that other person again. And the only thing that prevents that from being a retroactive one-night stand is that the two of them decide to go on a second date. But now they don't know if it's going to be a 2-night stand. It's like everything starts as a hookup until it gets strung into too many different interactions over a certain amount of time. People start to like each other for other reasons besides the pure sexual attraction. And then you have a nascent relationship that can then be structured and defined, etc. But no one defines and structures the relationship first. Maybe they should, but they're not, especially when there are options that are ready to go in the marketplace. So, what are 3 things? So, there are 4 ways to make it. There's cold approach, which is our dating apps. There's social media, and there's social circles. So meeting them in real life is either cold approach and or social. If you're doing cold approach, personally, I like to go to like meat market bars for that. You know, there's going to be places in any city that you live that are really designed because of the layout of the place, and they're the hip locations for people to go to meet each other. Like, you should fish where the fish are on some level. There's some people who think, you know, best place to meet women is Whole Foods, or I guess Erewhon these days, you know, if that's your type. Date game calls for a different